All right, I washed up LSU pretty good. Now it's time to give UConn some of their shine. They played Southern Connecticut State University, and as expected, they crushed them 97 to 38. It was a good crowd, an excited crowd, as obviously Paige Bueckers was making her return, her long awaited return from her ACL recon injury. They held her to 20 minutes in this game, and it was nice to see. She played. You just see what she has, the it that Gino Auriemma talks about. But the major thing, if you're a UConn fan, the thing that make you happy is that starting lineup where basically Gino's hinted at going at three guards, and that's what he's done. He hasn't said if that's going to be his lineup or if he's going to mix and match his lineup in terms of teams they face, but I think he's pretty comfortable with sort of starting with Nika Mule, sort of point guard, but if there's any sort of last minute play to be made, the ball's going to be in Bueckers' hands. Paige Bueckers at one guard, AZ Fudd at the other guard, sort of playing like a forward if you like. Descharme playing power forward, and then Edwards sort of being their post or manning the middle. And it seems like the idea is let's get four shooters out there, spread people out, and give Aaliyah Edwards just room to operate, and it looked good. UConn reminded me a little bit of like a Utah, like having four shooters out there that can spread the court and are a threat. I think Mule will go a lot better because they're not asking her to do as much. And Gino has said as much that when she plays within herself, that's when she plays at her best. And I think that's what they're going to hope happens is that Becker controls things, throws it to Mule in the corner, or other times she gets a chance to make plays, but it's not constantly going to be on her. There was an instance where I think they got a tip out of a rebound and the clock was running down, and they got it to Becker. She went between her legs and then threw like a skip pass to the other side. I can't remember who she threw it through. I think it might have been Descharme. And on that it wasn't a great pass, but that's just what she brings, is just that ability. If everything goes to hell, she can just take it on her back and make a play and make something good happen. And there was another play with her and Fudd that had to warm people's heart where Fudd went backdoor. They were overplaying Fudd, and then Fudd went backdoor. And, of course, Bueckers hit her right in line as well. She got an easy basket for Edwards. She just makes everybody's life easy because she's able to make the right pass. They look good on defense as well because they're all fairly big. And maybe that's because the opposition's a bit smaller but they still look big. Like they seemed like they were able to switch 1 through 5. I mean, even Mule was able to hold up, and I think they'll be fine with that, and that will be an asset. The other thing, the way they had it set up, you could see how when they brought KK Arnold on, like, she was just a change of pace, and she's just, I still like her. I liked her in Europe, and she did nothing to disappoint in this game. I've heard Gino say that she needs like another gear. They're almost trying to get her to slow it down a bit and be able to change paces. Like, she's always going 500 miles per hour. They want her to slow down, and hey, your 500 mile per hour will look so much better if you can dial it back to 300 to make the right decision and then put the jets to it. And that's just a work in progress. But he's obviously impressed with her. Aubrey Griffin looked good off the bench, and that's where the fight's going to be, probably between Aubrey Griffin and Descharme over who's going to be the starter. I think he wants Descharme out there for her shooting. That being said, she didn't shoot well in this game, but the key for her was she got through this game without any injuries and seemed to be healthy the whole way through. I've done my video on that. I'm wishing her the best and hope nothing happens, but even in the press conference prior to the game, like he said, they have her in training wear a yellow jersey, which doesn't instill confidence in me that she's wearing like the QB yellow jersey. Nobody touch her. But I understand that considering all the head injuries. Hopefully she stays healthy because it looked good. You had a little bit of a taste of it, and it looked really good. The other one, Ice got some time in there, and Ice Brady looked really good as well. She had a nice post move. She went with her right hand, and she's a lefty, so in Europe, when she posted up a few times, it did not look that great. It looked, the one where she went right was a beautiful post move. My only concern with Ice Brady was I heard it in the press conference. One of the reporters said, "Oh, she looks a little bit gimpy. Is she managing injury?" And Gina was like, "No, no, she's fine. There's nothing there." And then I noticed in this game just the strapping on her knee, which was more than the previous that she had in Europe, like the strapping that she had on Europe. I don't recall her wearing it. I think she just had sort of like, the sleeve over her knee. Where this one, I noticed a bit of kinesio tape sort of underneath the sleeve, and wondering if she's having tracking issues with her patella, or sort of like getting patella femoral type pain, or having any issues. But as far as we are aware, she is healthy, so we'll go with that, but something maybe to monitor. Of the freshmen, I mean, obviously KK Arnold was the one that sort of wowed the most. She's just an impressive player. Ice Brady got her time. She got 14 minutes. Cadence Samuels, she just didn't really shoot that great, and that's really what her game is dependent on. She went 2 for 9 and of those, 2 of 8 from 3-point land. Ashlyn Shade, she just does everything well and a good backup if required. She got her 20 minutes. The thing I find interesting with Shade is she just has a nose for the ball. Probably an outdated reference, but there was a guy for the Nets, or not Nets, for the Denver Nuggets, Fat Lever, he was a little guard that would always get rebounds, and Shade is like that. She just seems to have a nose for the rebounds and where to be to get them. She had 7 rebounds in that game, which stood out to me. There was one where she came flying in. She wasn't able to make the shot, but she came flying in and grabbed the rebound. So yeah, all the rookies look fine, but the real standout is KK Arnold. The other thing that I found interesting in terms of their defense, so they threw out sort of like a zone defense in the at times in the game, which usually involved Fudd being down at the forward, or whoever was the biggest guard on the court. It was sort of like a matchup zone. I mean, they were talking and stuff like that, but it was definitely a zone, and they were trying to put a little bit of pressure on it. It wasn't like a full-on press, but they were just sort of hedging a bit. One time, Bueckers sort of saw her man coming up court slow, so she quickly went over to double and then quickly got to her man. So it wasn't a full-on press, but they're looking to be aggressive and cause turnovers and do that, and they've got the depth now with all the guards to do that and rotate people in. But overall, I think it looked really good for UConn as there were no injuries and you could see the potential on the court. Just a few beautiful plays where you're like, oh man, everything just looks so much nicer with Paige Bueckers on the court. She is just like the straw that stirs the drink. It's pretty clear that's the case. So you've got to be excited if you're a UConn fan. I am really looking forward to them playing Maryland and UCLA in the next few weeks. Now, what do you think in terms of starting lineup? Do you see it staying with Fudd, Edwards, Deschamps, Bueckers, and Mule? Or do you see Griffin working her way in there, or Ice Brady? Do you think he's just going to go with what he did tonight and that will sort of be the permanent starters? Or do you see him mixing and matching for the rest of the season? Anyway, please, your comments below. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Hope to see you next time. Good night.